This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Hello from the other side.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of Hello from the Other Side from the Wednesday week. As you know, it'll be our preview podcast for the fixture that we've got coming up this weekend, which sees us taking the wonderful ride over to Stoke, where we will be playing, obviously, Stoke City. And I'm really happy to be joining you tonight with Dan from Every Step Along the Way. Evening, Dan.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Just about seeing me, I believe. Good. This is when we say like a dark, wet United States. This is what we do, you see. We just turn everything off. This is how we live.
It's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, we put our content out on YouTube, but we also put it out on as a podcast, obviously, as well. So for the audio listener, those people that watch it on YouTube will see literally just a face surrounded by black. Anybody that's ever watched Red Dwarf, you actually look a little bit like like Holly on Red Dwarf. But we'll get into it. Okay, mate. So let's see how. Talk to me about Stoke. How things been going this season?
Sorry. Apologies, I've got a bad chest as well.
It's been that good.
Yeah. So we started really well. Like we hammered Rotherham twice in the first one because we drew them in the cup. Put 10 goals past them. Beat Watford, beat West Brom. We were thinking we're flying. We've got 18 new players coming this summer from all corners of the world. None of them ever played in the Championship. And we were thinking, yeah, this could go either way. And the initial thing was that Andre Vidigal was the next Ronaldo, was the next Portuguese superstar, and everything was rosy. Unfortunately, by the end of August, we'd sold Jacob Brown, Tyrese Campbell was back injured, Ryan Mai was injured, and Andre Vidigal was injured. So all four attackers were out. That put a little bit of a dampener on things, believe it or not, and we really struggled then. To be fair, when we came back from the international break in September, Ender Stevens had got injured, and that was the one position. I'd say we signed 18 players. We brought Stevens in, and we sold Josh Timon on deadline day, which left Stevens as the only left back at the club. And then he got injured like 2 days later, playing for Ireland, and was out for like 10 weeks. So I was like, the one position that we didn't need anyone to get injured is gone. As he came back, Bournemouth then recalled Mark Travers, which was the other position we didn't really have cover for, because Jack Bonham, although he can pull off the odd camera save, where it makes it look, oh, that was great, he's also quite prone to just diving over the top of one or leaving his near posts like wide open for someone. Anyone who watched us on the televised game against Reading, and I know that's probably quite a low amount, last season, will have seen him come charging out of his area, completely miss the ball, leaving Lucas Shaw with an open goal. So leaving Bonham in goal and Travers going back was a massive issue. We've only won 1 of 6 games since then, and like I say, none of the last 5. So it's been very stretchy. We had a good start, then a long period without a win. Then we went 5 unbeaten and beat, like I say, Leeds, Sunderland, and Middlesbrough, which again was a new dawn, the second one of the season, and then that's been followed up now by 5 games without a win. So we are very streaky, it appears.
Yeah, I think we were chatting a little bit just before we jumped on, and I said to you, I'm not an aficionado or a font of knowledge when it comes to Stoke. We do respect it's a team that when you come up, you look for the big boys that have come down, and you look for your competitors that have come up with you. And then you get your traditional sort of perennial championship sides. And as I said, respectfully, Stoke seem to have fallen into that over the last few years, because it's been a while since you've come down from the Premier League. So had a quick look, jumped on and looked at your fixtures, and we're sort of thinking, God, they've dipped a little bit, and they're a little bit further down in the league. But it's quite deceptive, isn't it? Where, if you look at your results this year, you've taken points off some decent sides. victories against teams like Middlesbrough. I think you said you beat Middlesbrough, Leeds. You've been competitive. Yeah, you've been competitive up there, haven't you? And then you start the season really well. Is it down to the injuries, do you think? Is it down to the people that we've just mentioned that obviously it's been difficult to replace those? Or is there something else that's sort of sitting behind it?
I think it's been... It sounds like you're making excuses, but there's been a whole host of things, to be fair. Like we've had the injuries to, let's say, all the attackers out at once, like all your goal scorers, if you like, all out at once. Then the two positions that we didn't really have any cover for, both are the ones where we've lost players. But at the same time, if you flip that, you say, well, why sell your left back on deadline day if you haven't got any cover? Why bring a goalkeeper in on loan who can get recalled? And the annoying thing with Travers is he got recalled by Bournemouth. He still hasn't played a minute for them. It's like he got recalled for like a week because they only had one other goalkeeper. Within a week, he was back to being fourth choice, which is really annoying. So why bring a goalkeeper on loan and then not have a number two ready for that if he does have to get recalled? So you could say it's partly, the club's fault as it is. Then, like you say, there's been club players recruited in the summer from all over the place, all over the world, that have never really played in this league before. So again, that was going to take time to gel. Some start really well, don't they, above the level, and then they sort of level out. Others start below, and you have to wait for them to sort of work out how to play in the division. So we're sort of doing that still. Obviously, the injuries as well haven't helped with that because it doesn't help with the gelling when the players aren't able to play. So that's sort of dragged that out a bit. Add into that, again, another thing where people say, well, this happens to everybody. We've had apparently 9 letters from the FA saying that we should have had penalties, and we haven't had them. And we bear in mind that we have yet to be given a penalty. To have 9 times the FA contact and say, yes, sorry, we got that one wrong, you should have had one. It's like those could, even if we'd have scored half a dozen of them 9, it probably would make a massive difference in this league. And
are they still hanging over you now, or is that something that they've said?
They just said, they just sent a letter of apology basically to the manager. Came out with, they just sent a letter of apology and said, sorry, our ref ballsed up. He did not give you a penalty. He should have done. Good luck next week.
Right, I'm with you. Right, got you. Honestly, if I could sit here and sort of explain to you what I'm listening to, it's like you are Sheffield Wednesday on the level up in terms of the business that you've done, the transfer activity, bringing players in. We've signed a raft of players from all over the world. We've brought in lads from Chile. We've brought people in from Portugal. We've brought people in from sort of continental Europe. Similarly with our goalkeeper, the goalkeeper situation for us, he's absolutely much maligned, is Cameron Dawson, and he's very divisive. He divides opinions. He's had 2 promotions in 2 years with Exeter from League Two, and was a League Two player, goalkeeper of the year a couple of years ago. And then obviously last year he's kept goal as we've come up. We brought in a lad from AC Milan on loan, and under our previous manager Chisco, he was pretty much first choice, and then Chisco went, and one of the first things that we did was get rid of the lad who was supposed to be decent with his feet and put Dawson back in. And he's not necessarily pulling trees up, shall we say, in terms of the sort of support he's garnering from our fan base. And every now and again you'll see a game and you'll kind of think, if there's a goalkeeper in goal that's going to do something, it's you feel more confident looking at other goalkeepers and you do your own, if that makes sense. And I think I think on Saturday, any sort of break, you feel a little bit nervous. He's very much a confidence player. Is our lad. Hopefully the last couple of games will sort of stand him in good stead, and he'll be able to kick on and sort of put in those positive performances that he has in the last couple of seasons. But the feeling amongst our lads at the minute, our fans at the moment, is that he's maybe a level above where he might need to be playing, to be honest with you. Looking at your your position in the league, it's quite. We were quite surprised, or I was quite surprised when I saw that you were sort of floundering about 20th, aren't you? And you're only 5 points above relegation. How does that feel at the moment?
To be fair, a lot of people are sort of saying at this point, the last week and that, it's been like, Alex Neil out, we're 20th in the league. He's been here every year. What's going on? I'm sort of like, well, as I've sort of said before, earlier on here, we brought a lot in. You've got to give that time. There's no point chucking the manager out at this point because the new manager's only going to want to bring in his own players as well. And you've just signed like an entire new squad in the summer. So let's just calm down, give him at least a season, unless we are in danger. Where if that 5 point gap gets to 1 or 2, and no sign of anything improving, then maybe we does have to bite the bullet. But it's like if we'd have beat Plymouth on Saturday, if we'd have been the one scoring that 97th minute goal, I think we'd have gone 13th instead of 20th. So it's like This league is just when it's that tight. When it's that tight, I'm not sure the weight of a placing is that fair. Do you know what I mean? Like to look at it and go, we're 20th. This is a problem because it's like, well, one win and you're back into mid-table, and then it's like, well, is this a problem now? Is it now not a problem because we've won one game? It's like,
yeah. And I mean, I think for us, it's well sort of well documented that we are officially the worst championship side, or the side that's had the worst championship start in history. We've been record-breaking Sheffield Wednesday for the last year or so with the miracle of Hillsborough and the playoff turnaround and so forth. But despite all of that, there's an upswell and an upturn in terms of the morale that we've got. And I'll say it, as shit as we've been at times this season, we brought in a manager and a coaching structure. He's only won 2 games, and we're still struggling. We're still shipping goals, and we've lost games quite heavily. However, under this guy, Danny Rule, it's there's been an absolute turnaround. And I've been watching Sheffield Wednesday for a very long time, and I don't think there's been a well, we go back to the sort of the Premier League era before you can find a manager that's galvanised a fan base in the way that he has. So I think we're onto something pretty special. I don't know how aware Stoke are of what's going on at Sheffield Wednesday.
So we've obviously seen that you've had an upturn in results, especially in recent times. You've winning a draw in the last 2.
Yeah.
So is that sort of a culmination of the work that's been put in since the manager's come? Now the results are starting to come through a bit.
Well, he's do you know what? He's come in, and his pedigree's absolutely mental. Our coaching pedigree, or the people that we brought in a manager who was last assistant at Germany and cut his teeth in with Bayern Munich. We've got an assistant manager that's come through the Red Bull system. We've got Chris Powell, whose last jobs were Tottenham and England. We've got Man United's sports psychologist when Ralph Rangnick was there. We've just brought in a goalkeeper coach from Arsenal. And yesterday we announced a head of recruitment from who's got 20 years of working with Alex Ferguson and Wenger at Man United and Arsenal. Now, as a club that's, we've had our wobbles over the last sort of five years or so, we are struggling financially. And I, for one, am sitting here at the moment thinking, how are we managing to do this? And it's a worry, but on paper, things are looking good for us, and it's easy to say, and I think we've referenced it before. We feel that we may be in a false position at the moment. That's not to say we're going to be outstanding steamroller in getting into the playoffs anytime soon, because it is a big gap. We've had some significant sort of turnaround since Darren Moore moved on in the summer. It's been a tumultuous 2 or 3 months, if I do say so myself. But we're hopeful. We're relatively optimistic. Our fan base, we always travel well. We always travel in number. We sell out all the time. And I think what you'll see when we get to Stoke is that we'll make some noise, and we'll come and we'll bring a bit of an atmosphere with us. Certainly after taking points off Leicester in a game that we should have won, and taking another win with Blackburn. it's been a long time since we've had that positivity of beating a team that are up there. So yeah, we're feeling pretty positive as we travel along. And we're looking forward to it, to be honest with you. Talk to me about your danger men. Who should I be looking out for on Saturday?
So Andre Vidigal has shown, especially at the start of the season, that he's got if you give him half a chance, he knows where the goal is, basically. He'll be playing on the left-hand side, probably. So yeah, he'll be playing on the left, cutting in onto his right foot, and yeah, he just knows where the back of the net is from there. On the other wing is probably the best finisher at the club in Tyrese Campbell as well. And so obviously he's been around a few years now. His career suffered big setback with sort of an ACL injury, knocked a couple of years out of him. But yeah, he's again picked up a couple of injuries to start this season. He's come back the last 3 matches he's been since he's come back, and he looks hungrier, fitter, sharper than he has done for a long time now. So he scored at the weekend. So yeah, he's definitely one to watch for you. I think he looks pacey and, like I say, on it at the minute, which is always good when he's on a good stretch of form.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. I've got a story about Tyrese Campbell. He's the man that broke my heart. We go back. I'm going to give you a quick anecdote. Boxing Day 2019, Sheffield Wednesday under Gary Monk. We were sitting third, and for the last 4 years, we've referenced when it's been shit, and it has been shit. We've referenced we were third at Christmas, and we went into that Boxing Day game, went 1-0 down pretty early, and then we went 2-1 up with 15 minutes left, and Tyrese Campbell scored the first goal in injury time. We conceded in the 93rd and 97th minute. I don't know if you remember.
Sam Vokes scored the other one.
Yeah, killed us. Absolutely killed us. So we sit from third to fourth, and then we went into free fall. And I don't always do this. I'm known for a bit of data and stats on our pod, but I've had a look. I'm going to read you the top 10 from when we were third at Christmas. Top of the league were West Brom. Leeds were second. We were sandwiched by Brentford in third and Fulham in fifth.
Not bad.
Everybody since has kind of gone that way. The rest of them, Preston, Forest, Swansea, Blackburn, Bristol City have been in and around. Forest have obviously kicked on and done bits, but to look at the teams we were in and around. So Tyrese Campbell will always hold a bit of a pained sort of spot in my heart, because he was the guy that scored the goal that in a roundabout way I'll always associate with being the very beginning of the shitstorm that became the last 4 years of Sheffield Wednesday fandom, to be honest with you.
So. At least it was a good finish. Over his shoulder.
That's it.
It's funny because that game as well, I sort of mentioned that game on our podcast that we recorded last night, because obviously that was Boxing Day, wasn't it, 2019, and injury time goals, we won 3-2. We were bottom of the league at the time. Yeah. And then ended up in mid-table. And then obviously if we rewound also to 2002, 28th of December, we played you at home, and Brynjar Gunnarsson scored 95th minute winner when we were bottom of the league and come through and ended up in mid-table at the end. So I was like, yeah, it's like history had repeated itself like 17 years on.
Well,
sorry to bring that up.
No. Well, at least it's us that are sitting bottom of the league, so maybe it's time for a little bit of revenge this weekend. And
this could be the one.
Yeah. Do you look at any of our? Obviously, you'll do your bits in the build up to the games, and you might jump on the headlines and the socials and what have you to have a look. How aware of you of our sort of players, our squad? Is there anybody in particular that you're looking out for?
I suppose you probably get this every week, but Barry Bannon, I think, is the one, isn't he, that sort of does he still make everything tick how he did every other time I've seen him play?
Do you know what? He's becoming, as he gets older, he's becoming a little bit more of a divisive character, because he doesn't always show everything, and I think mistakes that are starting to slip in become more noticeable, but he's still, head and shoulders, quality-wise, ability-wise, technical-wise, he's a far better player than somebody who is playing at the bottom of the league. And I think, and I've said on our podcast, I think he gets a raw deal a lot of the time because he sees things that are a little bit more advanced and he does things that are a little bit different to everybody else on the pitch. So he might look for a wall pass or a one touch, and because somebody's on their heels, it goes out of play. It looks like Bannon's done something wrong, when in actual fact he's operating 3-4 seconds in front of everybody else. Saturday, there were a lot of people sort of talking about his performance as being not one of his better ones. But if you go back and look at our first goal on Saturday, young lad, Bailey Cadamartri, Danny Cadamartri's
Yes, I saw that.
he scored his first goal, but the build-up, it was the cross from Windass, but there was a first-time right-footed volley pass to Bannon over the right back that, not a player in the bottom 3 or 4 of this division would even have the foresight to even attempt, and he's just done it so nonchalantly. If he's on it on Saturday, things will tick. He still is the talisman. He is rightly the first name on the sheet as far as I'm concerned, and I think the majority of our fan base would still pick him as first. It's just that when if he's not 8 or 9 out of 10, he gets a little bit more aggro. But that comes with the profile of the player that he is. He's still our better player, I think. We've signed a lad, Dishon Bernard, who's played at Championship level, was released by Manchester United last year, was on loan at Hull. He's a bit of a Rolls Royce. He's far too good for the bottom end of the Championship as well. So we're doing all right. We've got a couple of lads that are starting to settle in now under the new way that we're playing, the new style, the new sort of setup that we've got. So it's going to make for an interesting afternoon on Saturday. How do you see it playing out then?
Right. So I'm hoping that we get the first goal, because what has happened, I think last season, I think we had 9 1-0 defeats at home, and we've continued that this season, in that when we've conceded the first goal, we haven't won at home anyway. Because what teams have realised that they can do is they can sit back, they can let us have the ball, because what we sort of lack in the midfield, and that is players with, how can I say, the guts, maybe is probably the kind of way to do it, to make that pass when they know that we've committed everybody into like the opposition's half, and then all the Blackburn were a prime example. I mean, I don't know about you if you've seen them yourself, but the way they can attack and the way they're one touch and interchange, they can just rip you apart in seconds when they're on the ball. And so we were like, they did that a few times in the first 10 minutes, and then just went 1-0 up and then just sat back. And we just literally spent the rest of the game just passing it sideways, because we were like, they got everyone back, we committed everyone forward, and it was as if we were like, well, we daren't pass the ball, because what if we lose it? We daren't try that risky ball, because if we lose it and they win it, they are literally in 5 seconds, they're probably going to be through on goal, because of how we positioned ourselves around the pitch. Then when we did open up in the last 5 minutes, they did do exactly that and scored twice. So we were probably right to be a bit wary of it, to be fair. But yeah.
To be fair, we did that to them on Saturday. We played them Saturday and went one up early, and they were good, as you said. They popped the ball about really well, and Smodic made a bit of a pantomime villain of himself by equalising and then going in front of the away end, gave it one of those. And then we went down the other end and scored 2 in the last sort of 6-7 minutes to shut him up. So
yeah, I think, like I say, though, if we concede first, then you're in. You're well in with a chance then. If you're in front and we're at home, seriously, you're well in with a chance of 3 points, because we really struggle to break teams down when we're behind.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear on the Thursday night, to be honest with you. I'm coming along. I do games. I've got a season ticket with my little one, and I do games away days. She's just getting to an age now, 10 years old nearly, where she's starting to enjoy it. So she's going to come along on Saturday. Has been messaging me tonight and sort of saying what we're doing, what's going on, sort of thing. So it's going to be my first trek over to Stoke. Personal question: is it going to be cold, wet, and windy?
At the minute, it's absolutely freezing. I would imagine so. Yeah, I would imagine even in June that stadium can be freezing cold. You could have a heat wave. You can have a heat wave outside. It's got its own climate. It's got its own microclimate. As soon as you get indoors, like, what is going on in here?
That's it. Brilliant.
To be fair, since they filled the corner in about 5 or 6 years ago, the wind, because I think what it was, the wind used to like whistle right around the stadium, come in from all like 3 angles and just like literally just circle. Since they filled one of the corners in, it's not anywhere near as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm hat, gloves, and scarf are will be in the boot of the car anyway. So, yeah. Okay, last question, then, mate. I've kept you, and I really thank you for taking the time out to talk to me. Can you trouble me or can I trouble you for a prediction?
I'm going to pray we get the first goal and say that we maybe add a second one later on and go win 2-0.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to be. It's a head and heart one for me. My heart is we're on an upturn. 7 points out of 9 would be great. If we win on Saturday and Rotherham lose, we will be off the bottom of the league and momentum's going our way. But pragmatically, seeing the bigger picture, we aren't going to win every week. And if we can concentrate on our home form and picking up points at home and then scrape the odd point here or there away in the short term until we get to January, I'm all right with that. I personally would take a draw. And I think we'll probably hold out for a low scoring draw, maybe 1-1. Maybe I think we'll book the trend in scoring. It's the absolute no Sheffield Wednesday thing to do to allow you to get back into it late in the game with a Tyrese Campbell 90+3 equaliser, no doubt. Dan, that's been brilliant. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're out and about and you're on the road. Before we go, do you want to give your channel, your socials, your pod a bit of a plug?
Yeah, so we're on obviously we're on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We're also on that's at Every Step Along. Same for Threads as well. You'll find we've got a Facebook group, and also the podcast is just Every Step Along the Way. So you'll find it on anywhere that you can listen to a podcast. Brilliant, mate. And if there's obviously any Sheffield Wednesday fans want to try and check out the opposition's viewpoints, they can jump on and have a listen to that. For those of you that are regular subscribers or regular viewers and listeners, you know where to find us. If you're watching on YouTube, along the bottom of the screen here, you'll see all of our socials. Our hats and where we are. It's ever expanding. The live show Monday, we jumped on Twitch for the first time. Middle-aged men trying to figure out new social media platforms has been something of an experience, but we're with it. We're down with the kids. I think the only one that's missing at the moment is probably Snapchat, so that'll be next. I'll get my little one to run that for us. But as I said, Dan, half an hour, great half an hour as well. Really appreciate your time. Yeah, and, really enjoyed it, mate. Thank you. Yeah, cheers. All the best, mate. Thank you. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.